Right, today we are going to go beyond the Kop and look at 5 things we learned from Newcastle 2, Liverpool 3. Make sure to click like and subscribe. Please enjoy the video and get involved in the comments giving your thoughts and feelings surrounding the recent win at St James's Park. Number 5, Ekitike going off negatively affects us. No doubt a lot of the discussion surrounding Liverpool's number 9 position will focus around the man known as Rat Bastard, Alexander Isak, if you're listening to Newcastle fans' recent comments. But Ekitike has been a revelation in Liverpool's front line, with his performance against Newcastle United, while nothing special, still showcasing his best qualities and explaining to everyone why we signed him. Throughout his time on the pitch, he was a physical competitor with the likes of Burn and Shaw, winning 2 ground duels, 1 aerial duel, and operating high up the pitch when Liverpool needed an outlet, but also dropping deep into the false 9 role when the Reds were trying to play through the middle of the pitch, with the build up to the second goal stemming from his work rate and desire to get things moving in a positive direction for the Reds. He was everywhere, and while his passing was a bit wayward at times, recording a pass accuracy of just 50%, he was still a major outlet for us. So when he was subbed off yet again as a way of maintaining his fitness, we yet again struggled to deal with the pressure from the opposition. We saw it against Palace, we saw it against Bournemouth, and we saw it against Newcastle yesterday. When Ekitike is off the pitch, we lack a real option up top, even with Salah on the pitch, as he needs someone to feed from his creative actions. Ekitike, while having a pretty standard performance, still scored for a 3rd game in a row and was a missed part of the team when he was taken off for Chiesa, showcasing how important he is and how we desperately need depth in the centre of our attack. Number 4, defensive problems. On one hand, we've gone to St James's Park, picked up 3 points when we didn't deserve them, and showcased the champions mentality at a time when it was desperately needed. However, on the other hand, it's 3 matches in a row which have seen us pick up a 2-goal lead before giving up said 2-goal lead. We did it against Palace, we did it against Bournemouth, and now Newcastle, against the side who would punch you in the face if you offered them a Swedish meatball. We were bullied physically in a very concerning way. Milos Kerkez, while still new to the system, was dominated at the far post for Bruno Guimaraes' goal, as well as throughout the match, losing possession 11 times and putting out a passing accuracy of just 83%. He looked weak and felt like he couldn't compete even with a makeshift right-wing position once Newcastle went down to 10 men, and we saw the likes of Guimaraes and even Shaw drifting out wide to compete against him. But the main issue is Konate. My God, he looks checked out. At the moment, the man is turning like a double-decker bus that has Gemma Collins on board. He's so at fault for Newcastle's 2nd goal, being bullied by Dan Burn, and last season we saw one of the best physical defenders on display week after week, but against Newcastle we saw the complete opposite, with him losing possession 4 times and losing 50% of his ground duels. He looks sluggish and lethargic, and while we scraped it against Newcastle side without Isak, Gordon and Tonali throughout the match, will he be able to put that kind of performance out against Arsenal and not be punished? I'm not sure. Number 3, Szoboszlai at right back. Okay, fair play to Dominic Szoboszlai. At a time when we were without Frimpong and Bradley, and we had an unfit Gomez and a makeshift defender in Endo as our only real right back options, Dominic Szoboszlai stepped up big time. Yes, not without fault, but he put in a massive shift against Newcastle, who had it all to play for. As a defender, he was fairly decent, winning a ground duel and competing well with the likes of Gordon and Barnes, but actually it was his composure on the ball and ability to slow the play down which proved massively effective for us. Throughout the match, the Hungarian recorded a passing accuracy of 89%, recording 4 accurate long balls and 4 clearances in the process, and at times when we felt under the cosh from Newcastle and we needed the play to calm down slightly, Szoboszlai was able to dictate tempo and calm down the atmosphere, operating alongside the midfield and giving the likes of Jones and Gravenberch an outlet out wide when the Newcastle midfield was constantly pressing. He still struggled at moments, of course, but for a makeshift right back, this was a solid performance, and he's given us another dimension down the right-hand side of our defence. Number 2, Jones has found his rhythm. While a lot of the performances are being viewed through the lens of pretty crap, see also entry number 1 on this list, there were a few positives. We touched on Szoboszlai, and ngumoha speaks for himself, but the main attraction from this match is Curtis Jones for putting in a calm and composed, brilliant performance that went quietly effective and under the radar. Throughout the entirety of the St James calamity, our saving grace was Curtis Jones. Across the 90 minutes, he won all 7 of his duels, completed 100% of his dribbles, including a wonderful one in the second half that was just 1 pass away from splitting Newcastle's defence open, and he produced a passing accuracy of 89%. And while people may say the majority of those passes were backwards and or short, that's what he's best at doing. Against Newcastle, we couldn't go hell for leather and expect the result. We would have got absolutely picked apart more than we did, and Jones being that calming figure in the middle, slowing down the tempo and giving those around him time and space to collect themselves at times where the play got very intense, gave us a platform to build off of. It may not have been a 10 out of 10 performance, but I'll take a season full of 8 out of 10s if this is what we get. And number one, Salah's form continues to concern. Look, before people jump at me like Isak jumping ship to Liverpool, there is a cause for concern surrounding Salah's form, and we need to touch on it. So last season, there can be no doubt Salah had one of the greatest individual campaigns in Premier League history, scoring 29 goals and creating 18 assists. But in his final 9 matches in the top flight, the Egyptian picked up just 2 goals and 1 assist from that campaign, and that form seems to have carried over into this season to much concern. Yes, he scored against Bournemouth, and yes, he picked up an assist for the ngumoha goal, but during his disaster clash against the Toon, the right wing had a passing accuracy of just 68%, losing possession 10 times and creating just 2 key passes, with one of them being the assist. But this goes beyond stats. Throughout the match, he was so ineffective, not able to create anything of substance, constantly finding himself unable to find any inner space to work with throughout. And while he did have a few moments here and there, Salah was still pretty much a passenger in this side, with his XG coming in at just 0.21 despite picking up the late assist. Since his contract was agreed, Salah has seen a dip off, and yes, he is undeniably well within his right to have some slight decreases in quality from time to time, but this is something which needs to improve, especially when you consider how much our front line is reduced in terms of overall quality and quantity. And when you remember how much we were carried at times by the form of the Egyptian King last campaign, it's not something too worrying right now, but if it continues, then we'll have something of major concern in the long run.